אני הולך לבכות לך, תהיה חזק למעלה. געגועי כמו דלתות שנפתחות בלילה. לנצח אחי אזכור אותך תמיד, וניפגש בסוף, אתה יודע. יש לי חברים, אבל גם הם קווים אל מול אורך המשגע. כשעצובים הולכים לים, לכן הים מלוח, וזה עצוב שלהחזיר ציוד אפשר, לא געגוע.
The last, the very last, so richly, brightly, dazzlingly yellow. Perhaps if the sun's tears would sing against a white stone. Such a yellow is carried lightly, way up high. It went away, I'm sure, because it wished to kiss the world goodbye. For 7 weeks I've lived in here, penned up inside this ghetto. But I have found my people here. The dandelions called to me, and the white chestnut candles in the court. Only I never saw another butterfly. That butterfly was the last one. Butterflies don't live in here, in the ghetto.
Stille, stille, lo mir schweigen, quorum wachsen do. Saben sie verpflanzt die Sonne, grüne See zum Blau. Zwirren Wegen zu Bonner zu, so führt kein Weg zurück. Ist der Tat wo verschwunden, und mit ihm das Glück. Stiller Kind mein Wein nicht äußer, sie helft nicht kein Gewinn. Unser Unglück willen Sonne, sei wie nicht verstehen. So bringe es euch der Amen. So wiss es euch zusammen. Nur zu unser Bein, kein Bieselstein, kein Bieselstein. Hush, my baby, weep in silence, you may rouse the foe. He has planted here beside us tombstones in a row. Daddy went away forever, heaven knows how far. Every step is leading to the graveyard of Bonar. Hush, my darling, stop your crying, cease your weeping woe. Those who hate us chase us closely, we have far to go. Someday the dark clouds will lighten. Someday your sad eyes will brighten. In your eyes of woe, no tears will show. No tears will show.
This is my Bubby and Pop-Pop, Jenny and Max Scheiman. Pop-Pop passed away this last May. They are both Holocaust survivors.
They are my great-grandparents.
We remember, never forget.
It is now clear to me that what took place exceeded all expectations. In our opposition to the Germans, we did more than our strength allowed. But now our forces are waning. We are on the brink of extinction. We forced the Germans to retreat twice, but they returned stronger than before. One of our groups held out for 40 minutes, and another fought for about 6 hours. The mine, which was laid in the area of the brush factory, exploded as planned. Then we attacked the Germans as they suffered heavy casualties. Our losses were generally low. This is an accomplishment too. Z fell next to his machine gun. I feel that great things are happening, and this action which we have dared to take is of enormous value. We have no choice but to go over to partisan methods of fighting as of today. Tonight, 6 fighting groups are going out. They have 2 tasks: to reconnoiter the area and to capture weapons. Remember, short-range weapons are of no use to us. We employ them very rarely. We need many rifles, hand grenades, machine guns, and explosives. I cannot describe the conditions in which the Jews of the ghetto are now living. Only a few exceptional individuals will be able to survive such suffering. The others will sooner or later die. Their fate is certain. Even though thousands are trying to hide in cracks and rat holes, it is impossible to light a candle for lack of air. Greetings to you who are outside. Perhaps a miracle will occur, and we shall see each other again one of these days. It is extremely doubtful. The last wish of my life has been fulfilled, though. Jewish self-defense has become a fact. Jewish resistance and revenge have become actualities. I am happy to have been one of the first Jewish fighters in the ghetto. Where will rescue come from?
I guess my story begins in 1939 when my father was drafted into the French army and was sent to serve. And prior to his leaving, he told my mother that if the Germans come into Paris, take the family in the car and drive south to Bordeaux, and I will meet you there. And in effect, this is what happened. My mother bundled us into the car. It took us, normally a trip like that is maybe somewhere between 6 and 8 hours. And it took us about 2.5 months to do it because the roads were crowded by refugees, by retreating French troops, and by German Stukas shooting at us on the roads. So it was very confused. You would drive along for a little while, and then the planes would come and shoot at us, and all the cars would stop, and people would jump into the ditch to escape the bullets. And when they flew away, people who were still alive would get back into their cars or to their bicycles and keep going. During one of these jumping into the ditch, I broke one of my arms, and my mother took me to a French Army hospital, who refused to treat me because I was a civilian. And after much arguing, they took me in and set my arm, and off we went back to go to Bordeaux. It was not all blood and gore. Sometime we would pull off the road and drive a few miles and picnic. And during one of those picnics, my grandmother, we were sitting on a blanket, and my grandmother had a straw hat, and we were eating sardines, and the cow slowly came walking behind her, and my mother and I saw what was going to happen, but did not say anything. And slowly the cow started to eat my grandmother's straw hat, and eventually she caught on, and it was a big laugh, and everybody had a good time. Then we returned back to the main road and continued our trek to Bordeaux. Once we arrived in Bordeaux, 2.5, 3 months later, what the people did, they are these colonnes that advertise shows. And what people would do, they would write a note to one of their relatives and say, I'm here, and hopefully they will find you. And ultimately, my father did find us, and he had the foresight to take us to Algeria, which was a 2-day boat trip. And we went from Marseille to Philippeville, and ultimately to Alger. And we spent the latter part of the war in Algeria. My father ultimately met people in the French FFE, the underground, and was served as a translator for the French Vichy. The Vichy was the collaborationist government of France collaborating with the Germans. And he got a job as a translator of the speeches of Hitler from German into French. Obviously, he spoke fluent German. And at the same time, he worked for the underground, the FFE, transmitting shortwave messages from the underground to the U.S. Army. When the Americans landed in Algiers, was the first time that my father told me that we were Jews, because I was too young to realize the importance at the beginning of the war, and we lived as Catholic. And so when the Americans landed in Algiers, he told me that I was a Jew. And that was the first time that I realized, frankly, it didn't mean all that much to me just because. Anyway, ultimately, we survived. My father ultimately made a good living, and ultimately we immigrated to the U.S. My father had tried to immigrate to Israel, but at that time the British had closed off the entrance to Israel, basically to everybody. And he was able to get us into Canada, and then from Canada into the US, and ultimately we all became US citizens. And that's my story.
This is my father, Arthur Schott, who survived the Holocaust, although most of his family did not.
Lidor vador, lidor vador, lidor vador, nagid god lecha, ulenetza nitzachim, kadush hakta nagdish, lidor vador, lidor vador. Lidor vador nagid god lecha ulenetza nitzachim kedush hakta nagdish
Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch hu Baruch Shemo I believe in the sun, even when it's not shining. And I believe in love, even when there's no one there. And I believe in God, even when He is silent. I believe with perfect faith.
No, no, my God, we want to live, not watch our numbers melt away. We want to have a better world. We want to work. We must not die.
Bashana haba nesheva hamirpeset v'nispo ציפורים נודדות ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית ולבין השדות אותי ראה כמה טוב
תפרוס כפות ידיים מול האור הניגר הלבן.
ענפה לבנה תפרוס כאור כנפיים והשמש תזרח בתוכן.
עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה.
עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה.
אני מאמין, אני מאמין, אני מאמין באמונה שלמה בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח. אני מאמין ואף על פי שיתמהמה, עם כל זה אני מאמין. אני מאמין, אני מאמין, אני מאמין באמונה שלמה בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח. אני מאמין ואף על פי שיתמהמה, עם כל זה אני מאמין. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
That we remember and we will never forget.
We remember, never forget.
We remember, never forget.